Two key European leaders are pushing a new peace plan for Ukraine. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande are taking their proposal to Moscow for a meeting with President Vladimir Putin. They've already given details to the Ukrainians. Still, Western governments are working on other strategies should the conflict continue to get worse. More from NHK World's Craig Dale.
The leaders of Germany and France are using their diplomatic muscle to try to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Angela Merkel and François Hollande presented a new, highly confidential peace plan to Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko before they meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Poroshenko outlined his expectations.
Immediate ceasefire, releasing all the hostages, closing the border or renew the international recognized border on Ukrainian withdrawal or all the foreign troops.
Those terms are part of a failed ceasefire signed 5 months ago between Ukraine, pro-Russian separatists, and Russia. Ukrainian soldiers have been struggling to hold the country together since last April, as the separatists work to carve out independent territory in the east. Despite denials from officials in Moscow, most agree Russia is fueling this war with arms and troops.
We are not fighting with so-called rebels or guerrillas. We are fighting with the Russian regular army.
Caught in the middle, civilians who have seen their towns and cities destroyed, their lives turned upside down. We were in a shop and suddenly there was a blast, says this woman. Then in a few seconds, there was another one. The fighting had tapered off in December, but it's worsened since the end of January. Evidence of that can be seen in the town of Debaltseve. Ukrainian soldiers are trying to maintain their positions as the separatists close in. Residents are fleeing. We will not leave anyone here who does not want to stay, says this Ukrainian official. The continuing conflict has prompted more action from the NATO military alliance. Defense ministers are launching a quick response force that would deal with Russia and other potential threats. And they're setting up multinational command and control centers in 6 nations surrounding Ukraine and Russia.
If a crisis arises, they will ensure that national and NATO forces from across the alliance are able to act as one.
U.S. leaders are debating action of their own. After meetings in Kiev, Secretary of State John Kerry explained they're reviewing their options.
Among those options, obviously, is the possibility of providing defensive assistance to Ukraine.
Defensive assistance means giving weapons to Ukrainian soldiers. It's something President Obama is debating and key U.S. lawmakers are encouraging. But the Russians have warned against it. Many fear it could make the conflict even worse. And so there's even more riding on the peace plan being pushed by Germany and France. Most nations want to help Ukraine defend its sovereignty. And above all, they want to help end a conflict that has claimed more than 5,000 lives and created deep divisions between Russia and the West. Craig Dale, NHK World.